Good morning, dears, and welcome to Super Coaching for UPSC by Textbook. And I am your mentor of economy, Pradeep. And today we meet here to discuss one of the very important topic of Indian economy, that is land reforms. So, uh, 2 days before the new year started, and we are meeting first time. Since then we are meeting first time, so let me wish you so happy new year to all. So let's start our today's session. So first let me tell you that in what manner we are going to proceed in regard to this lesson. First of all, we will discuss that meaning of land reform. What is the meaning of land reform? Then we will discuss the objectives of land reform, that why government went for land reforms, and we will also discuss that what steps government took in order to have land reforms. And in that context only, we will also discuss that merits and demerits of steps taken by the government in regard to land reforms. So let's start. Merit, demerit means whether they were successful or not. And if they are not successful, why they are not successful, we are going to have the analysis. Okay. So let's start our session. So as I said that we are going to discuss the land reforms. So let's start. So first of all, I will define that what is the meaning of land reform. What is the meaning of land reform? Land reform is nothing but deliberate efforts by the government to alter the process of ownership of land holding, methods of cultivation, and established relation between agriculture and economy. I am going to repeat once again. What is land reform? Land reform is deliberate efforts or intentional efforts. Why government is going to take intentional or deliberate efforts? They are going to take just to have three things. One is they want to alter the ownership rights of the land. They want to alter the methods of cultivation of agricultural land. They want to alter the relationship of agriculture with the economy. Meaning, what does it mean? That means the meaning is that agriculture is a resource, or land is the resource, and through which the production took place. Okay, as I said that before the independence, agriculture was one of the important resource, and still it is important resource. So and the objective of India as a welfare state is to have the welfare of the maximum people, or to establish a egalitarian society. And in order to establish the egalitarian society, that means there should be maximum production, and in order to have the maximum production, and productivity of agricultural land should be increased, because that means land is an important resource for the that production. So there is need to increase the productivity of agriculture. That is the meaning, that the relationship between agriculture and economy. Meaning, that means in order to have the egalitarian society, we want to increase the contribution of agriculture in production process, so that the welfare of the maximum people can be ensured. That is the meaning of relationship of economy with agriculture. So we want to alter three things through the land reforms. One is we want to alter the ownership rights. We want to alter the methods of cultivation. We want to alter the relationship between the economy and the agriculture. So that whatever steps government took in that regard, all those steps are known as land reforms. So And this steps was taken on the recommendation of a committee, and that was chaired by J.C. Kumarappan. The government uh, appointed a committee government appointed a committee under the chairmanship of J.C. Kumarappan for look into problems of land. To look into problems of land, government appointed a J.C. Kumarappan committee, and this committee recommended to have the land reforms in India, and government accepted that those recommendation, and government went for the land reforms. So, in regard to land reform, government took some measures, and what measures government taken, we are going to discuss those measures. So, that in order to land reform, government took four measures. Government took four measures. That for the land reform, government abolished the intermediaries. We will discuss what does it mean. That means first, in the first step, the government abolished the intermediaries, and that is known as abolition of intermediaries. Other government went for the tenancy reforms. Other thing, government fixed the ceiling on land holdings. Fourth, government consolidated the land holdings. What does it mean? We will discuss one by one. Okay. So what is going to be? That means government took four measures in regard to land reforms. And what are those measures? One is abolition of intermediaries. Second was tenancy reforms. Fourth was fixing the ceiling on land holding. And fourth was consolidation of land holding. So these were the four steps, and we will discuss all these steps, that what steps were taken and whether they were succeed or not. If they are not succeeded as per expectation, why they have not succeeded, we will have the analysis. Not only this, that means now first let me tell you that what are the objectives of land reform. Okay, what are the objectives of land reform? First let me tell you, then we will discuss these steps and we will have the analysis. So as I said, that the objective of India as a nation state is only to have the welfare state, meaning to establish a egalitarian society. So what is the meaning of egalitarian society? That the egalitarian society means that welfare of the maximum people. That means there should be disparities should be reduced to the minimum extent. That is the meaning of welfare, and that can be ensured through the maximum production. And agriculture was considered as resource, so that means there is need to increase the production through the agriculture. There was need to increase the production through agriculture, and the production of agriculture, in order to increase the production of agriculture, there was need to increase the productivity of agriculture. There was need to increase the productivity. Let me that, as I said, that there was need to increase the production from agriculture. There was need to increase the production from agriculture, and in order to increase the production from agriculture, there is need to increase the productivity. So the production can be increased. That means that's why we went for the green revolution. And after the green revolution, our productivity has increased, but still, in case of wheat production, in context to productivity, we are ranked 38. That means in the world production, in the production of wheat, when we talk about the productivity, our rank is 38. When we talk about the rice, on the basis of productivity, our rank is 50 after green revolution. Okay, and when we talk about the pulses, our rank is 138 in terms of productivity. So that means if productivity is less, the production will be less. So in order to increase the productivity, we went for the land reform, okay, and so that the production can be increased, so that the welfare of the people can be ensured. So that was the meaning, that was the basic objective, that still the productivity is not at par with the countries of West, but after the Green Revolution, the productivity has increased. So think about the independence, at the time of independence, that there was very low productivity. So we went for, so very first objective is going to be to increase the productivity, to increase the productivity. Second is, as I said, that welfare, to ensure the welfare of the people, and for welfare of the people, and this agricultural land is considered as resource. So there is need to have the distribution of resource, equal distribution of resource, and in order to have the equal distribution of resources, that agricultural land holding was distributed among the tillers, among the sharecroppers, among the landless laborers, among the peasants, etc. And that was also the objective. And the objective was just to ensure the welfare of the people. So we can say that when we talk about the objective, we can say that one was to establish, to increase the productivity. Other was to have the distribution of resources among the landless laborers, among the sharecroppers, because land was a resource, and very important resource at the time of independence. So that was the, and when there will be, the other objective can be, when there will be distribution of land, the income is going to be transferred, because it is a resource. So that is going to be instrumental for production, and through the production, income is going to be generated. So there is going to be distribution of income among the different sections of society. Not only that, other is going to be that it is going to give the proprietorship of land holding to the agriculture landless laborers, sharecroppers, tillers, etc. So these were the objectives. So we can say that basically there was two objectives, and that two objective was that to ensure the welfare of the maximum people, and in order to have the welfare of maximum people, there was need to increase the productivity of agriculture land holdings. That's why we went for agriculture land reforms. So now we will discuss that what steps government took and what was the significance of those steps. So we are going to discuss the very first step, and that very first step is abolition of intermediaries. Very first step is abolition of intermediaries. So what is the meaning of abolition of intermediaries? We will discuss that. So let me tell you that during the British period, that there was land revenue system. There was land revenue system. And there was three type of land revenue system. Please try to understand. During the Britishers, period of Britishers, there was three type of land revenue system. And that three type of land revenue system was, one was known as Jamindari system. You people must have studied it in history, and I am just going to introduce here. One was Jamindari system, other was Mahalwari system, and other was Rayatwari. Rayatwari system. During the British period, there was three type of system. For the land revenue settlement or land revenue collection, there was three type of system. One was known as Jamidari system, other was known as Mehelwari system, other was known as Rayatwari system. And this Jamidari system was introduced. This Jamidari system was introduced by Cornwallis or Johnson, because Cornwallis was the then Governor General of Bengal Presidency, and it was introduced in Bengal Presidency. At that time, Bengal Presidency was having nowadays West Bengal of nowadays, that was consisting of Odisha, that was consisting of Bihar, and that was also consisting of that means Bangladesh. So that means it was introduced in 19% area. Okay, that means it was introduced in eastern part of India, and it was consisting of 19%. And this Jamidari system, under this Jamidari system, please try to understand, there was a system that was, suppose that means this is a land, and this land belongs to, that means that Britishers gave the land owning rights to the Jamidars. They were known as Jamidars. Although the land belongs to state, that means the ownership rights belongs to the Britishers only, but for the collection of revenue, they given the rights of land to collect the revenue to Jamidars. And the Jamidars, that means they were supposed to get, that means collect the revenue. Jamidars were supposed to collect the revenue, and they were supposed to deposit that revenue to the government officials, with the government officials. That means for collecting the land revenue, the Britishers gave the Jamidari rights to suppose A. And this A was entitled to collect the revenue, and this was responsibility of A to deposit whatever revenue that means has collected by the A to tax officials. And that means they were supposed to collect, that means whatever they have collected, they were supposed to deposit 10/11 with the government officials. But because of that, what happened? This A, since this was the responsibility of A, that A that means transferred their Jamidari rights to B, that means not rights, rather they transferred their collection of responsibility of collecting the revenue to B. B transferred this responsibility to collecting revenue to C, and C transferred to D, and actual tiller is E. So meaning that the actual tiller of this land is E, and the responsibility to collect revenue was with A, and that was known as Jamidar. Okay, and this A transferred their responsibility to collect the revenue to B. B transferred to C. C transferred to D, and actual tiller is E. So that means there was exploitation of E. In order to increase their profit margin, D is going to collect taxes exorbitantly. C is also going to collect the taxes exorbitantly. B was also. So that means because of that, there was exploitation of A, and top of that exploitation of E. And with top of that, E was not having any motivation to invest in this land, because this land do not belongs to he. He or she is simply a tiller. So he or she can be evicted from tilling of land anytime once he or she is not able to pay the tax, or revenue. He or she can be evicted. That's why he was not having any motivation to invest in this land. And top of that, he was supposed to get exploitation like anything, because in order to, there was big chance of jamidars, and that was known as absentee landlords. In order to increase their profit margins, they were exploiting the. So because of that, there was, and that's why during the freedom struggle, there was bad feeling of that Indian citizenry towards these jamidars. So it was very easy for the government to abolish this system, and that's why government abolished the intermediaries. Sorry, government abolished the intermediaries. Government abolished the intermediaries. Okay, who intermediaries? These jamidars. And the ownership rights, under this, ownership rights were given to the actual tiller. Ownership rights under this abolition of intermediaries, that ownership rights was given to the actual tiller, and this is the most successful. This was the most successful reform in regard to land revenue settlement. So this was the most important or most successful reform in regard to land reform, and that means advantages was, that means the advantage of this system was, that means actual tiller got the ownership right. So that exploitation of actual tiller was abolished. What was the drawback of this? The drawback was that in order to abolish the jamidars, the government took the ownership rights from jamidar and they were distributed to the actual tiller. And for that thing only, government came with the second reform, that is known as tenancy reform. We will discuss. But when they that means took away the lands from the jamidar, they were being compensated. Unlike, that means when the ownership rights were taken from jamidars, they were compensated. Unlike Russia, in case of India, when ownership rights were taken from the jamidars and they were being distributed among the actual tillers, the jamidars were compensated. But unlike Russia, but when these reforms were taken in case of Russia, they do not compensated. So this was the drawback, because it burdened the government a lot. So that was the drawback. And what is the advantage? The advantage was that actual tiller got the ownership right. Now that actual tiller has the motivation to invest in that land holding in order to increase the productivity. At the same time, their exploitation is going to be eradicated. Okay, so that was the abolition of intermediaries. Now we are going to proceed further and we are going to discuss the next reform, and that next reform is in terms of tenancy reforms. So that means it was in context to first reform only, because what happened, in order to abolish the intermediaries or in order to abolish the jamidar, the ownership rights were given to the actual tiller, and actual tiller, that means in order to have these reform, they came with the tenancy reform, and under this tenancy reforms, government took 3 steps. Let me tell you that under that tenancy reform, government took 3 steps. 3 steps under the tenancy reform. What are those 3 steps? One was conferring ownership right to the rights to the actual tiller. Second was the security to tenure. What it means we will discuss. Security to tenure. Other was that regulation of rent. My dears, please listen me and listen me carefully. What I said, that in order to have the first reform for the abolition of intermediaries, government went for the second reform, that is tenancy reform. And under the tenancy reform, government took 3 steps. One is that government conferred the tenancy rights, or government conferred the rights to the land holding to the actual tillers. Second, they given the security of tenure. What does it mean? We will discuss. Other, they gave the made a provision for regularization of rent. Okay. So what was there? That means this is very clear that actual tiller was given the ownership right, security to tenure. Now this actual tiller E, in our example, as I said, this actual tiller E is going to be the owner of land. Now this E can further sublet, like earlier A was subletting, E can further sublet it to D. F can further sublet to F. So that means when E is going to sublet it to F, there should be security of tenure. That means for how long E is going to sublet to F, there should be security of tenure to F. That is the meaning. That is the meaning of security. And not only this, that means there was also the regularization of rent. And what is the meaning of regularization of rent? Meaning earlier, that means A was subletting to B, B was subletting to C, C was subletting to D. Okay, so that means there was no regularization of rent, and in order to increase their profit margin, they were increasing the revenue collection. And that's why under the tenancy reform, government came with the provision that there should be regularization of rent. That means it should not be discretion of E to whatever amount they want to collect the rent from F, if they are going to sublet to F. Rather, there should be regulation of rent. That government is going to fix that what amount or on what basis there should be rent. That is the meaning of tenancy reforms. Okay, and under this tenancy reforms, as I said, that government took 3 steps, and now we are going to discuss that whether it is succeed or not, and why it has not succeeded. Okay, why it has not succeeded, and which states succeeded in the implementation of tenancy reforms. Okay, so first of all, it is not as much succeeded as expected. Okay, although that in case of abolition of intermediaries, that means 25 million to 35 million intermediaries was abolished. 25 million to 35 million intermediaries was abolished, and that was not a very big amount. That means that base was also less. But when we talk about the tenancy reforms, that the ownership right was given only to 11 million tiller. Only ownership rights were given to the 11 million tillers. And it was implemented only for the 4% of area. It was implemented for the 4% of area only. So that means it was not as successful as expected. And why it was not? Okay, now we are going to discuss that why it was not as successful as expected to be, because That means in order to give the ownership right to the actual tiller, there was need to, in order to give the ownership right to the actual tiller, there was need to identify the tiller. Okay, and that this was the responsibility of the state governments, and the state governments were not able to identify the actual tillers because of nexus, between the government officers and the landlords. That means they were not able to, that government officials made a nexus with the landlords, and landlords do not allow this actual tiller to register for the ownership rights. That's why it was not successful. It was not successful as expected. Not only this, that when we talk about the West Bengal, when we talk about the government of West Bengal, that means it was successful in 7 states. It was successful in West Bengal. It was successful in Kerala. It was successful in Maharashtra to some extent. It was successful to Gujarat. It was successful to Himachal Pradesh. It was successful to Assam to some extent, and it was also successful to Karnataka to some extent, and it was most successful in Bengal and Kerala. Okay, why it was most successful in Bengal? Because there was communist government. And that was pro-labor. Okay, so they try to do the efforts for identifying the actual tiller, and for that thing only, to get the actual tiller, in 1977 the then West Bengal government started a Operation Varga. In 1977, the then West Bengal government started Operation Varga. Okay, and the objective of this Operation Varga was to identify the actual tiller and to give them the ownership right of land holding. That's why this reform, tenancy reform, was most successful in case of West Bengal. So this was about the tenancy reform. So we understood that what steps government took, whether it was successful or not, and in which states it was successful. If it was not successful, why it was not successful, and if it was successful, why it was successful. Now we are going to proceed further, and we are going to discuss the ceiling of land holdings and what does it mean. Let me tell you that what is the meaning of ceiling on land holdings. That means that the government fixed the maximum land holding which can be held by a particular family. Under this ceiling on land holding, government fixed maximum limit of land holding that can be held by a family. Okay, suppose A is a landlord, okay, big landlord, and suppose he is owning 100 hectare of land, okay, okay. Now, as per the government land ceiling act, that means any family can hold only 10 hectare. So that means A can hold only 10 hectare. 90 hectare of land, A has to surrender to the government. 90 hectare of land has to be surrendered by the A to the government, and government will redistribute it to the sharecroppers, among the tillers, among the landless laborers, among the peasants, etc. That is the meaning of ceiling on land holding. Okay, so this was the meaning that maximum limit was fixed by the government that can be held by a particular family. Okay, and it was depending upon state to state. Okay, in the initial phase, that government did not mention that maximum limit. It was vary from state to state, and that was the responsibility of the state government, and that's why it was not implemented successfully, because it was responsibility of the state government. And again, there was nexus between the landlords and the government officials, and they that means they did the forge. Okay, and there was lot many corruption. They do not. Okay, that means they do not transfer the land to the government. Okay, and why they do not, what they did, that means suppose this A has to transfer, rather than transferring this land, what A did, A the split, because that limit was on the basis of family, that means on the basis of family. So that A split his or her family, his family, and that means now there is going to be 2, 4 or 5 families, and on the basis of 5 or 10 families, they are going to hold all the land. Not only that, means land was distributed among their relatives. That means, and because of that, the split of family took place. That means because of that, nuclearization of family in India took place. Okay, not only this, that the land was transferred to the name of pets. That means on the name of dog, on the name of cat, on the name of temple, the land was transferred. So first, the why it was not successful, because there was almost no transfer of land from the landlords. Why? Because of lacunas in the that law. That law was saying that the land is going to be maximum land holding is on the basis of per family, and because of that, the individuals split their family, and they try to hold their land among their family only. And if there is, they also transfer their land on the name of pets. Not only this, if they transferred also, suppose this is 100 hectare of land. Okay, and in that 100 hectare of land, that 20 hectare or 80 hectare is of fertile land, and 20 hectare is infertile land. So which land they are going to transfer? They are going to surrender only 20 hectare, which is infertile. And top of that, this infertile land is further going to be distributed among the landless laborers, among the sharecroppers who do not have the ability to invest in this land in order to increase the productivity. So first, they try to avoid the transfer. If they transferred the infertile land, and that infertile land was distributed among the sharecroppers, landless laborers who do not have the investing capacity in order to increase the productivity of land. So because of this, there was almost unsuccessful. This reform was unsuccessful. And not only this, because of this, nuclearization of family in India took place. In case of West, nuclearization of family took place because of industrialization. But in case of India, nuclearization of family took place because of land reform. And that land reform, ceiling on land holding. That was the social consequence of land reform. Okay, I think it is very clear, and it was not successful. Okay, and it was successful to some extent in three states. One was J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, other was Assam, and other was West Bengal. Other was West Bengal. So this was about the abolition or the ceiling on land holdings. So I think it is very clear that whether they are succeed or not and why they were not succeed. Now we are going to proceed further and we are going to discuss the next concept, and that next concept is that consolidation of land holding. That consolidation of land holding. Now we are going to focus on consolidation of land holding. So what is the meaning of consolidation of land holding? First we will try to understand it, then we will focus. Consolidation of land holding, suppose, let me have a that blank page for better understanding. Suppose this is the 4 lands of any family. That means this is 1 hectare land, this is 2 hectare land, this is 3 hectare land, this is 4 hectare land. Okay, that a particular family has 4 land piece, scattered 4 land piece. Okay, under this reform, government came with the initiative. Government came with the initiative that there was consolidation of land holding, that government is going to acquire this for scattered land holdings, and government is going to give you a single piece of land holding of 10 hectare somewhere else. What is the consolidation of land holding? That means consolidation of land holding was an initiative under which if there is scattered land of any family, they can surrender that land and they can have the ownership right of same amount of land holding somewhere place. Why this step? Just to increase the productivity. Just to increase the productivity, because it is very difficult to implement the technology. To implement the technology on the scattered land. It is very difficult to implement the technology on the scattered land. If there will not be implementation of technology, you cannot have the economies of scale, so that you cannot increase the productivity and you cannot increase the production. So in order to increase the production, government came with the initiative that is known as consolidation. So why? That means on the scattered land, the individual or the family or the tiller cannot apply the technology. They cannot use the best cultivation method, they cannot use best irrigation facility, they cannot use the fertilizers, they cannot use the seeds, better seeds. So that means they cannot involve the better technology. And it is very easy if they are going to have the, that means single piece of land, that means on this single piece of land they can apply the technology, they can cultivate it with the tractor. Okay, they can that means have the better irrigation facility, they can that means install a pump, which is going to be one time that investment, they can use the fencing. So that is going to increase the productivity. That was the initiative of the government. In order to increase the productivity, government came with the initiative that is known as consolidation of land holding. And because there will be economies of scale. Okay, and what is the meaning of economies of scale? Let me tell you. The meaning of economies of scale means, that means when you are going to produce at large scale, produce at large scale, per unit cost of production, per unit cost of production decreases, per unit cost of production decreases. As there is production at large scale, the per unit cost of production reduces. Why it happens? Why it happens? Because when we produce something, there is two cost. For production, there is two cost. One is known as fixed cost of production. Other is known as variable cost of production. Variable cost of production. So, irrespective of production, whether you are going to produce 1 unit, 2 unit, 5 unit, whatever it is going to be fixed. This cost is going to be fixed. But this is the cost which is going to vary with the production. So when you are going to produce 5 units or you are going to produce 200 units, so this cost is going to be fixed. This is the only cost which is going to increase. So because of that, when we produce at large scale, the per unit production cost is going to reduce. That is known as economies of scale. So economies of scale, and by applying technology, the producer will be in position to produce at large scale. And when the producer will be in position to produce at large scale, he can have the benefits of economies of scale. And top of that, with the application of technology, he can increase the productivity as well. So he can increase the productivity by two ways. By applying the technology, he can increase the productivity. Not only by applying the technology, he or she can produce at large scale, and because of that, he or she is going to have the benefits of economies of scale. That's why government came with the initiative of consolidation of land holding. But this was also not succeeded. Why? Now we are going to discuss that why it was not succeeded. First of all, they were not succeeded because it was not succeeded. Let me make another again. It was not succeeded because these traditional people have the emotional attachment. Please let me tell you first, then we are going to. This traditional people have the emotional attachment with their land. Meaning they thinks that this is blessings of their ancestor. Okay, that's why they were not ready to surrender their land. Okay, that means because the scattered, that means consolidation of land holding can take place only when they are going to surrender their land, and the individual or traditional farmers, they were having the emotional attachment with their land. They were having this feeling that this is blessing of their ancestors. That's why they were not ready to surrender their scattered land, so that they can get the single piece of consolidated land, so that they can use technology, so that they can avail the economies of scale. So first reason, that because of emotional attachment, the farmers do not surrender their scattered land. Second thing, they do not surrender the scattered land because that means when they were having this scattered land, they were having the idea of their fertility. They were having the idea of their fertility. That means it may be fertile. That means this land, this 10 hectare land may be scattered, but that may be fertile. But when they are going to get the land, consolidated land at somewhere, some other place, they were not very sure that what is going to be the fertility, what is going to be the quality of this land. So that's why they do not surrender. That's why it was, and top of that, it was optional. That means it was not mandatory. Consolidation of land holding was not mandatory, it was optional. That means state government or the individual family can go for consolidation and they may not go for consolidation. That's why it was optional. That's why the farmers do not surrender their land holding. Okay, and that means there was two states which in which this consolidation of land holding was mandatory. That was Punjab and Punjab and Haryana. That Punjab and Haryana, the consolidation of land holding was mandatory. That's why the seeds of green revolution is most successful in case of Punjab, Haryana and Western UP. Because the technology, green revolution was based upon technology, and for the better implementation of technology you need to have the large piece of land, and most of state do not implement the consolidation of land holding, but Punjab and Haryana and in western Uttar Pradesh it was mandatory. That's why green revolution was most successful in case of these states, because it was based upon adoption of technology. So this was about the land reforms. If there is any doubt, let me know, otherwise we are going to stop here. If there is any doubt, let me know, otherwise we are going to stop here. And join my to get the PDF and to get each and everything related to economy, join my Telegram ID Pradeep sir textbook. Search it, Pradeep sir textbook, and join it. You will get each and everything related to economy on that ID. You will get the current affair, daily current affair there. You will also get the objective questions of UPSC level regarding the current affairs related to economy. You will also get the subjective questions for writing practice. You will also get the PDFs. That means you will get each and everything. So it is high time to join Pradeep sir textbook Telegram ID. Thank you very much, dears. We stop here. Thank you very much. If there is any doubt, let me know. Otherwise we are going to stop here. Thank you very much, dear.